Have you ever wondered what justice really means? Is it about obeying laws, helping friends, serving power? Plato's Republic isn't just a book about politics, it's a journey into the very structure of the human soul. In Book 1, Plato begins that journey through vivid characters, each one representing a part of society and ultimately a part of ourselves. Today we're going to explore how the seeds of the Philosopher King are planted right here in the very first conversation. The Republic by Plato is one of the greatest works in Western thought, a fusion of philosophy and dramatic art. Book 1 feels different from the rest. It's more like an independent dialogue, setting the stage for everything that follows: justice, education, and the philosopher's duty to the world. Some scholars believe that it was written as a dialogue on its own and then became part of this monumental work, but we don't know. It all begins with Socrates, the philosopher, and he's going down to Piraeus, the busy democratic part of Athens. That descent isn't casual though. It's quite symbolic. The philosopher, leaving the realm of the contemplation, meditation, enters the noise and struggle of political life. A journey that mirrors the Philosopher King's descent from wisdom to leadership. In that sense, so here we're contrasting the ethereal part of life and the pragmatic part of life. Socrates and his companion Glaucon, who's Plato's brother, a young nobleman passionate about truth and courage, they both go to this festival and they are stopped by a sled boy who insists they visit the home of Polemarchus, son of a wealthy arms manufacturer called Cephalus. It is a striking image. The philosopher, drawn by persuasion, not by force, into the house of wealth and power. So in this part is where Plato quietly stages a social drama. You have Cephalus, who represents the old aristocracy, comfortable and pious. Then you have Polemarchus, the next generation, loyal but conventional. And then you have Thrasymachus, the sophist, ambitious, bold, the voice of cynical realism. This first scene sets up the Republic's central tension, the eternal conflict between knowledge and power. So they descend, they go into the city, they go into Cephalus' home, and at first Socrates doesn't want to stay. He resists, a symbol of the philosopher's reluctance to enter the messy world of politics. But here Plato reminds us, wisdom isn't meant to remain in isolation. The philosopher must descend, not for gain, but out of duty. Glaucon's courage and curiosity balance Socrates' extreme caution. Their friendship becomes a model of mentorship and moral engagement, and how intellect and passion can guide each other towards truth. Again, they are the contrast between mind and body, ethereal and physical. Inside the house of Cephalus, they meet Cephalus, the wealthy patriarch, a man shaped by habit, religion, and age. He reflects on old age and wealth, saying that money lets him live honestly and pay his debts, and his definition of justice is quite simple: telling the truth and giving back what one owes. But then at this point, with such a simplistic definition, Socrates has to ask a question and start digging. What if returning something, for example, you gave a sword to a madman, what if that causes harm? Cephalus' justice works only in stable ordinary life. In moral complexity, it fails. Plato then goes on to use Cephalus to represent the voice of tradition and piety. Sincere but shallow, the justice of a man who has never questioned why his rules exist. As the conversation goes on, at some point Cephalus has to leave to perform a sacrifice, because that's what they used to do back in the day. So then his son Polemarchus takes over. He inherits not only his father's house, but also his moral outlook, just slightly more refined. He goes on to give his own definition of justice as helping friends and harming enemies. Now, as much as that could sound noble, the justice of the warrior, the citizen, I guess that kind of sounds noble, right? The justice of the warrior, the citizen, the loyal friend. But Socrates goes on to dismantle it. Harming anyone makes them worse, not better. And a just person, by definition, should never make others worse. That is Socrates' argument. And here, Polemarchus represents civic virtue, limited by loyalty and emotion. Socrates transforms that limited patriotism into a universal principle. True justice benefits everyone, friend or foe. Then it is at this point that the mood changes. Thrasymachus, the professional sophist, a paid teacher of rhetoric and success, burst into the dialogue like a storm. Thrasymachus accuses Socrates of being naive and evasive. Justice, he declares, is nothing but the advantage of the stronger. And in other words, might makes right. Now, to Thrasymachus, morality is a tool used by the weak to control the strong. It's pure realism, the creed of tyrants, conquerors, and opportunists, right? But Socrates counters calmly. If rulers make laws that harm themselves, are those still just? If justice serves ignorance instead of wisdom, can it truly be good? And it is here that Plato exposes the hollow center of power without virtue. It begins to reveal the Philosopher King as its opposite. Socrates then makes a profound move. He compares politics to other arts. Medicine heals bodies, shoemaking crafts shoes, shepherds care for flock. If everything art benefits the thing it serves, then the art of ruling should benefit the people, not the ruler. That's the analogy here. And so, this is Plato's first sketch of the Philosopher King, a leader whose wisdom seeks the good of the whole, just as a doctor seeks the health of the patient, not his own profit. The ruler's knowledge is not domination, but care. From here on, Socrates argues that the truly good person cannot have enemies. It's questionable, but he says that justice and goodness are inseparable. The just soul acts not from fear or advantage, but from harmony. And even when wrong, the virtuous person does no harm, because harm only deepens ignorance. Justice, therefore, is not about rules or revenge. It's about education and moral transformation, improving the soul and, through it, society. Now, the only contingency I have here with Plato would be the fact that you can't control others. There's people who just hate good people. What can I say? Book 1 is also studying here the human desire, because each character embodies a different kind of eros, the driving force of the soul. For example, Cephalus is the desires, comfort, and reputation, right? The status. Polemarchus desires honor and loyalty. That's something that you have within yourself. It's not a worldly possession. And Thrasymachus desires victory and power. And Socrates uniquely desires truth. So these are all aspects of ourselves, Jung would say. Plato hints that the city is a mirror of the soul. Just as the soul must balance reason, spirit, and appetite, the city must balance philosophers, guardians, and producers. Book 1, then, isn't just about arguments. It's about the anatomy of human longing. The first book of the Republic is the beginning of a vast philosophical architecture. And through each character, whether it's tradition, loyalty, ambition, or wisdom, Plato lays the foundation for the city of the soul. Socrates shows that justice is not convention or power. It's the harmony between knowledge and goodness, the order that allows both individuals and societies to flourish. Philosophy for Plato isn't separate from politics. It is politics, the art of learning to live well together. If you want to understand how the soul and the city reflect each other, Book 1 is where to begin. Read it slowly, read it often. Plato isn't just describing society, he's describing you. In the next episode, I'll be diving into books 2 through 4 of the Republic, and let's see what lessons it brings. Well, let me know what you think about Plato's first book, The Republic, and if I missed something or misinterpreted some of this information, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I'm interested to know what you're thinking, and keep your wonder habit. I'll see you in the next video.